So I've been asked time and time again, okay, Ratchon Chabura, what is this Ratchon Chabura about? What is Ratchon? Ratchon. Ratchon is to want to live. It's wanting. It's having a hunger. It's having an appetite for life. It's a passionate approach to living. It's the motivation. It's the desire to get up in the morning, a drive for life, and to want to do something every day. It's what's called machshevet habriya. It's in the thought processes, so to speak, of God. Hashem created the world with a desire, so to speak. And his desire is to want to pour upon us, his creation, delight, happiness, joy, everything good in this world Hashem wants to give us. In order for us to receive it, we have to want it. By us wanting, we become a vessel to receive. So without wanting, we essentially close up that vessel and are no longer in a position to receive. And that is the biggest difficulty for us as human beings, to not want to receive goodness. And it's also plays its part in sort of an insult to our Creator, because our Creator wants so badly to give, and here we are closing down and saying, I don't need to see this. I'm full, either on my own, I filled myself up with something else, or I don't desire what you have to give me. So how is Ratchon shaped? How does it begin to take a form in our lives? So there's actually three parts of what's called the keter. The crown of every Jewish being has a crown sitting on their head. And in that crown, there's three parts that comprise of that crown. There's Emuna, there's oneg, pleasure, and there's Ratchon, the desire, the aspiration, the longing to live life. On a simplistic, sort of on the surface explanation, Emuna, the Daily Dose of Emuna, has been speaking about Emuna for years now, Baruch Hashem. It's the power to connect to our oneness. It's the idea that we are part of something that's great, we are one with it, and we are part of creation, an inherent, an important, a vital part of creation, and creation is essentially connected within and to us. Then the second part is oneg. Oneg is pleasure, it's delight, it's my ability to feel happy in life, calm with what I'm going through in life. The pleasure and the joy is in the knowingness. When a person has knowledge, when they have an idea, when they have a clarity, understanding, they're in a place of pleasure, of delight. So the idea of Emuna, it feeds into oneg, it feeds into our pleasure, because we understand that we are part of this oneness. And that, in form, brings us and gives birth to a great sense of delight and pleasure. And it's that pleasure that leads us. That pleasure of knowingness that we're connected to one, the mere knowingness that in our existence we are connected to the Creator of the world, that brings us pleasure, and that is what essentially drives our Ratchon. That is what should be pulling us into this world, driving us forward, giving us the passion and the inspiration to live every day to its fullest. So how can I change my Ratchon? And why would I even want to? So here's the problem. The problem with Ratchon is if our Ratchon is not connected to this inner place within the subliminal places of the mind, if it's not being fed from that place of oneness and of true delight, of basking and relishing in that oneness, the problem is that my Ratchon, my driving force in life, is going to be fed by external influences. The world is always getting us to try to respond and to react to all kinds of outer stimuli. And what happens is we stop feeling something on the inside because we're constantly being fed and aroused to some sort of a desire by the external world. So our relationship with pleasure and with joy becomes very conditional. And that essentially deadens the internal storage house, that passion that we have inside, the excitement over just living, of being alive. That true experience of pleasure becomes deadened and numbed because there's always an outside catalyst that is trying to push its way and get us to want and feel and desire. And that's the biggest problem that we have. Yet what we really need to recover, and what this Chabura is, God willing, going to teach us, is that there's an inner storage house of pleasure, of happiness, of calmness. It's there. Hashem needs me, so to speak. Hashem needs me to do something that no one else can do. And that should be a driving force in our life. That should be what should fill us up in life. And that should be the force and the passion to which we get up in the morning every day. So what's the commitment here? What's the commitment in terms of developing our Ratchon? So Ratchon is not a short-term teaching. Obviously, it's something that we need to become more aware of, which is, God willing, what the Chabura is going to teach us. We're all going to become much more aware of what drives me forward. Where is my hunger at? What do I long for the most? And once I can get an idea and become more aware of it, then of course, first, the steps to change is first awareness, and then a desire to change, and then a practical way and practical way of stepping forward and implementing change. The Chabura, God willing, is a 16-part series, one of which was already given, and 15 more to come. And as we travel through the clear awareness of what drives us and where our urges, our itches lie in life, then we'll become more inclined to want to change, because we'll realize that we've been working with the outside stimuli. We've been working with conditional desires as opposed to really tapping in to the innate gift that God gave us, which is a storage house of pleasure. And that should be the pleasure that should lead us to everything that we do. So the time frame for this Chabura is 15 upcoming Chabura classes. But it's a work of a lifetime to which, God willing, we'll feel more committed and we'll have more of a Ratchon ourselves to want to work and refine ourselves so that we better understand and have more control over that which pushes us forward. The 10 spheres are 10 pipelines, 10 manifestations by which godly, divine light is brought down into this world, into our bodily systems. We're going to go through every single one of those 10 sfirot, Be'ezrat Hashem. We're going to go through Chokhmah, which is a process of awareness, and to see how we can remain inspired. We're going to go through Bina, where we'll be able to understand what makes us be in a state of joy, how to properly tune our vision. We'll go through the third step of Da'at, where we get to attach ourselves and feel what really drives us forward. Then the next pipeline is Chesed, where we'll be able to start opening up our heart, expanding our heart, enabling ourselves to also forgive. The next one is Gevura. Gevura is the idea of responsibility, of respect. Tiferet is next. God willing, we'll focus on peace, on harmony, and on attaching ourselves to our inner truth. The next sphera is Netzach. Netzach is where, God willing, we'll work on confidence, self-confidence, inner control. And then we move to Hod. Hod is where we learn gratitude, appreciation, to become more sensitive. And the second to the last is Yesod. Yesod is where we will, God willing, learn how to refine our communicative skills and to feel like we are in a place of real, true fulfillment. And last but not least, there's Malchut. Malchut discusses the idea of hope. how we can see the other person and affect the entire world, not only be in a place of receiving godly light, but also how to spread it forth and become that true pipeline to others.